Everybody know what World War Z is about? It's about Brad Pitt. He stars as retired UN investigator Gerry Lane. One day, while Gerry is driving his family through downtown, people start going crazy, running into traffic, and eventually start biting people and doing the human pyramid. Turns out this is an epidemic, and Gerry Lane is apparently the best investigator in the entire world to figure out what's going down, track down the cause, the cure to the catastrophe. So where the film goes from here is kind of like major spoilers, so I don't really want to get into it. But essentially, he's touring the world to do that, to find out either where this came from or how we can cure it. So personally, I felt like this was not a zombie movie so much as it was like a medical mystery is how it felt to me. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that, Justin, or how did you see it?
Well, I mean, it has the feel of one of those films where some, whether it was Ebola or something else, was released into the world and they have to find a cure for it. But I liked that there were several moments in the film where they really tried to push this in more of also a supernatural realm. I mean, there's that you see Jerusalem in the trailers. There's reasons why he's there, and several people in the film go to they say flat out the undead. They don't try and call it something else, call them disease victims. They call them the undead, and you don't call a zombie created by scientific means the undead. That has a much more supernatural connotation. So while there was that feel of a medical drama, there was also the feel of just a good old-fashioned zombie movie, and I thought they married them together really well without coming down hard on one side or the other.
I agree.
I really like the fresh spin on the zombie genre. We were going to talk about this in a little while, but it's been kind of beat to a dead horse, and I felt like it was a refreshing story with the genre.
Yeah, because this movie it's a global scale as opposed to almost every zombie movie I've ever seen where it's a group of people in a small area and they're trying to get to an area.
Or at least one continent. I mean, like Walking Dead is all on
something. Well, that's all in Atlanta, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's generally like a very localized area. So the fact that it went global, I thought was a huge change up to the genre. Now, Brian, you're the biggest zombie fan I know. You didn't love it as much as everybody.
No. Yeah. I don't think I loved it quite as much as you guys. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a very entertaining movie. It just, I guess maybe because of the global scale, it almost felt like I was kind of watching it from an aerial view the whole time.
I like that though. I like that.
And it was just kind of I kind of equate it kind of almost like Contagion meets 28 Days Later. I do like that Contagion aspect. The fact that it is going global. There's walled up cities that are being overrun. And that was pretty cool. It was almost like you never sat still long enough to kind of really get get too engrossed in a certain parts. But I thought, but overall, like I said, I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was, I don't know about I thought the acting, it pretty much was like Brad Pitt was Brad Pitt, but I think you could have just about had anybody else in that role, and I think you could have done just as well. What do you think about that?
I totally disagree with that, man. I think Brad Pitt owned because the dude's a movie star, and he can carry whatever he does. He seems to kick ass in, and
especially Killing Them Softly.
He was really good in Killing Them Softly. He was good in the movie. The movie sucked, but he was good in it. He's got that very easygoing air about him, and everything he does just seems realistic and normal, and like how a person would react. He just seems very quick on things.
Yeah, I never doubted for a second that he was like all about family.
No, yeah, exactly. And the way that he played it when he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to do this, but essentially they're going to kick his family off the only safe spot they're aware of if he doesn't help them. So it's not like most movies where he's like, I got to go and save the world. He really didn't care about the world. Mm-hmm. He just wants to save his family. And the only way to do that is by him going to do this. So I thought he did a great job. And you're right, Brian. Nobody else really matters in this whole movie except maybe his wife, who's Marielle Enos.
Ineos?
Yeah, and the girl that
Marielle Enos
is one of the girls that end up helping him on his mission with this Daniela.
The Israeli soldier.
Yeah.
She was great.
She was fantastic.
Very minor role, but she was very, very believable. Did you guys notice Matthew Fox?
I didn't even realize he was in that.
It was just like a super cameo role, like out of nowhere. Like why
you
waste?
You barely ever see his face.
I know.
It was more his voice that I got.
I didn't even realize it was him until my wife pointed it out. She's like, "Hey, that's the Lost guy." I know we got to have a reference at least once a week.
Absolutely, it's in the contract.
But I wouldn't have even noticed it if she hadn't pointed it out.
The one guy that I really that I think I enjoyed and wanted to see more of was he was in the, I hate to say segment, but the part of the story when they're in Korea, and that's the Army captain, James Badgedale. He's the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
I just thought he was just engrossing. I just was like, wanted
real
to see him. Just kind of wanted to see him more, and kind of liked his role in that.
That's what I liked about this movie is the characters that you came in. Most zombie movies, you see them kind of grow into the environment that they're around, and this is like, we're already here. We've already experienced this. We've already been through all kinds of crap, and this is how we are now. I think that's something that we're kind of missing from a lot of zombie movies and even games or whatever, is like all we see is the growth, and we never see the aftermath.
Well, yeah, I guess to some degree. The production's been a big deal because everybody has talked about the zombie pyramids, the cheerleading efforts that zombies now do in this movie, where they basically run at a wall in mass and grow the pyramid area high enough to where they can jump over the wall. Okay, did you guys like this aspect of zombies in the movie, or did you think it was a little ridiculous? Does the CGI work for you, or was it not good?
I kind of like the notion, actually.
Rats do that.
What's that?
Rats do that. And
oh, that's a good point.
I mean,
every once in a while, Scott gets one.
Well, and they're just, I mean, they're not really, they're not strategic. They're not really thinking. They're just, they know something is there, and they're going to do whatever they can to get over that wall, so to speak. So, they know, okay, I can climb up this person and get a little higher. So that just kind of builds up enough to over the wall. I mean, to me, it reminded me, I hate to say this in a way because I don't really mean this as a dig, but it was almost like The Mummy. It was almost like one of those effects from one of the Mummy movies.
Little scarabs?
Instead of scarabs, we got zombies.
Zombie scarabs.
Well, and not to bring up video games at all, but early on in the film when they do the opening credits, they show a lot of scenes of mass carnage, but they also show a lot of scenes of like nature footage of ants and the kind of collective way in which ants will work and getting together and doing things. There's a game out now called The Last of Us, and the people who developed it said one of the reasons they got the idea for it is because they saw these ants who would get infected with a disease suddenly changing their behavior and becoming cannibalistic and some other things. And when these zombies would run at these walls or run en masse and start climbing over each other, it made me think of an anthill that had been kicked over. Yeah. And now all of these things have one single-minded purpose of getting to this food source, this thing they want, and whether they have to climb over each other to get to it, just kind of showed the mindlessness of what these zombies were, but also their tenacity. And the CGI, it's okay, but I like that idea, and I'm kind of glad that they did show that mass pyramid forming. And so, I thought it worked pretty cool.
My favorite part of the entire movie is I really like the zombies. I I thought that was a great scene, the scene in Jerusalem with the en masse, which everybody's seen in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. But what they do in the third act, and I'm not going to give away what they do, but the tone of the movie comes down a notch, whereas
it changes.
Yeah, completely changes. And I realize this is a part of the movie that was reshot, but most people going into this aren't going to know that, and it really doesn't matter because it's the final product. But the fact that it kind of, where most blockbusters, especially nowadays, everything gets amped up and amped up and amped up, where this movie, it kind of hits that high note and then becomes a different kind of movie, like a very suspenseful, slower slower pace
It's a
film.
different level of intensity.
Yeah, it was a different level of intensity, and it worked great. And it could have been an epic fail.
It became a much
honestly.
more personal.
Yes, thank you. I thought that was a
Kind of
great turn and a nice reprieve from all the action spectacle crap that's been out so far. Not that
I mean, after you see a mountain of zombies, how do you get more threatened?
Yeah. Here's one of the things I liked about the production was I think the sound design was really good, especially in that third act with the zombie sounds that they made, in particular the clacking of the teeth and that kind of thing. Really made it really creepy and
intense.
Really amped up the intensity quite a bit. That was really good.
I loved that, and I thought it was a great change of pace from everything else I've seen this summer. So, verdict overall, what did you think, Scotty?
I was really pumped for World War Z already, but the film did a great job keeping me interested in the zombie genre despite some minor camera issues I had with the shaky cam at the beginning. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Brian?
I'm glad that it was better than what I was expecting. I've had higher hopes, but I wasn't let down either. So I'm giving it a strong 7.
Justin? What did you think?
I'll agree with Scotty. I went into it with very low expectations. In fact, I kind of went into it expecting a mess. And when it was over with, I was really impressed with how tight that movie was and how good. Really, really overall a great job. And I'd give it an 8.5. It's not the best movie of the summer, but it's not the train wreck I thought it would be. Far from it.
I hate when I agree with Justin. I totally agree with Justin. Overall, I had more fun here than I did with Iron Man 3, Man of Steel, and Fast 6.
Now you're going way too far.
But see, let me explain. I really love movies like Outbreak, where they're medical mysteries. It's a total change of pace from everything else I've seen in the summer. I gave it an 8.50 also. Not as good as Star Trek, but it's my second favorite movie so far this summer.
Wow.
Let me ask you this. There's without being spoilerish, they throw you a couple of little clues throughout the movie about what might be causing the epidemic. You see the gentleman in the alley. You see the kid.
Yep. That stuff's been in the trailer. Did I figure it out?
Right. Yeah. Did you figure it out? I mean, you're pretty good at figuring stuff out like that, but
I did right when the kid did that. I had an idea what they were going for.
I had no clue.
Yep.
Yeah, I had no clue.
And it's not a spoiler. I mean, you really. I think
that scene is in the trailer. So
it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I kind of figured it out right around when Brad Pitt did. So I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll see.
No. You're one of those people who try to break it. I mean, you're trying to solve it from minute one.
Mysteries are my favorite kind of movie, man. So that's obviously probably one of the biggest reasons why I liked it as much as I did, because I love mysteries, and hardly any movies make mysteries worth paying attention to. So, and I like that they took that because they added a totally different layer to a zombie movie that I haven't seen done.